Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are going to continue today with the Deborah Muller Fall Limited Palette Color Along. And this is going to be the video where we pick all of our Prismacolor pencils to match the color palette that has been chosen. So those of you that are just stumbling across this video, we are going to be doing a color along. I would love for you to join us. If you would like to join us, there is a link down below in the description box to come and join my Facebook group. Also, please make sure you do subscribe to my channel and turn your bell notifications on so that you always get notified every time I post a video. And if you enjoy videos like this and you're part of the coloring community, please do make sure that you give my video a thumbs up because it really helps my channel out a lot. If you did not see the video that was put up yesterday, that was the first video for this color along. I will make sure that is linked in the upper right hand corner in a card so that you can find it easily. And I will also link the playlist. There will be a playlist on my channel for this color along so that if you go to that playlist, you will be able to watch all the videos from the first one to the very last one. In this color along, we are going to learn how to color hair, skin, clothing, and then we've got a couple flowers down here, and then we are going to finish it off with a background. Those are the things that were so highly requested from those of you that have been watching my Adult Coloring for Beginners series. Everybody wanted to know how I color skin and hair and clothing, and so I reached out to Deborah Muller and asked her if she would be so kind as to create a coloring page for us, so this way y'all can follow along. We could all have the same page, and if you'd like to get this page, again, you will be able to download it from my Facebook group. So just go ahead and put a request in to join so that you can get the page and join along with us. Okay, so let's go ahead and start picking our Prismacolors and matching them up to the palette. This is the palette that was chosen, and I'm going to show you exactly how I choose pencils, and you can just follow along. I have picked the pencils for you. You can feel free to use the pencils that I chose, or you can use the color palette and you can do your own pencil picking after I show you how it's done. As we are going to look at the palette and we are going to look at the color, match up the color, and then we are going to pick two other colors to go with it. So essentially you are going to end up with a dark color, a medium color, and then a lighter color. Now when I pick my colors, I also look at the page that I'm going to be coloring, and I kind of determine how I want that page to look when it's done. And then I take my color palette and I see what colors are in there, and then I also let that play a part into my pencil picking as well. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you the colors that I chose for each one. You should be able to see the color palette up in the right hand corner. Now there were two palettes that were chosen because every time we do a color along, I let everybody in my Facebook group vote on everything. So everybody was able to vote on color palettes. And so there were several that I put in a post, and then everybody just decided, even if it was more than one that they liked that in the comments, and then that tells me which one is the winner for the palette for the color along. So I always pick the top two, and so we had this one, and then the other one that we had was this one. So you can get both of these palettes as well along with the coloring page in my Facebook group. So if you would like to do the other palette, you're more than welcome to do that, and you can match up your pencils using this video in the way that I show you how I match pencils up. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this color all the way over to the far end, and it is like a really pretty purple color. And so the color that matched up the closest to that color was the mulberry in the Prismacolor set. Let me zoom you in a little bit more here because we are going to go ahead and swatch these colors out. Okay, so I have a page here now where I could just swatch these colors out for you. So for the furthest color, way over to the left, the purple color, The color that was the best match was Mulberry. So now we need to find colors that go with this that are going to be darker and lighter, or instead of using this for your mid-tone color, you can also use this for your lightest color, or however you would like to do it. It's all up to you. But for this one, I decided to use the Mulberry as my lightest color. So I am going to come in here and swatch this. Actually, let me not swatch it yet. Let me show you the other colors I chose to go with it. So the next color that I have is my Dahlia Purple. And then the darkest one is going to be the dark purple. I wanted to make sure that I kept this with all purples and not brought in, like sometimes I'll bring in some pinks or something and kind of, I would have, like when I started, I used this lightest color, and because it has a lot of pink in it, I took the Mulberry and I kind of started going into the pinks, and then I decided since we already had a pink in the palette, I didn't want to do that, and I wanted a lot of purples, and I wanted my purples to look very autumny. So this is what I came up with, and we're going to go ahead and swatch these out. So that's the dark purple. And then we have the Dahlia Purple. And then the last one is the Mulberry. Okay, so here's our first set of colors for the first square all the way over there to the left on the color palette. Okay, so the next ones, if you look at the next color, we've got that hot pink. Now, I will tell you, there is no hot pink in the Prismacolor set that matches. And I will have all Arteza matches for y'all. And I will tell you that Arteza had a color that was spot on, but there was not one in the Prismacolor set. So the closest one I was able to find in Prismacolor was the hot pink. And so that is the one I chose. And then for that one, I went darker and I went lighter, because this is going to be one of my highlight colors that I use throughout my picture. So this is my pomegranate. This is my hot pink. And then this is my Deco Pink. Deco Pink is one of my absolute favorite colors to use as a highlight. So there are those colors. Now, if you notice, like I said earlier, when you're choosing your colors, you don't always have to take that color that is the color in your palette and use that color for your mid-tone color. You can use it for whichever color you want and then add in something that swatches well with it, or that you think would swatch well with it and also fit into the picture that you're going to be coloring. So let's go to the next one. The next one is going to be that deep, beautiful orange. And the color that I found that matched up to that deep, beautiful orange was the poppy red. So, I mean, it was almost a perfect match. I think I am also going to have up in the corner the picture that we are coloring, so that you could look at it and understand how I kind of pulled that in, as well as my color palette while I was choosing, so you could see why I kind of came up with some of these colors that I added in after I picked the color that matched my my swatch. So I came up with poppy red, which was almost an exact match for this one. And then if you look at our picture that we're going to be coloring for the color along, I really wanted red, because red is a very fall color. We've got some flowers to color, and so I figured this poppy red that has a lot of orange in it would give me a really great opportunity to bring in something that was a deeper red, that was more like a fall type red color. And then if you saw in my last swatch right here, I've also got the pomegranate. So that has a lot of red in it too. And these two, the Crimson Lake and the pomegranate, those will go really well together. So the last color that I brought into this one, I really wanted to lighten it up, and this is one of my favorite highlight colors. And you guys know how I am about my highlights. I've got to have a lot of things in my pages that pop. So I've got my Salmon Pink, and this just looks really pretty up against this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and swatch these out. Okay, so that is our Crimson Lake and our Poppy Red and our Salmon Pink. That color is just gorgeous. Okay, so that one is done, and we are now moving on to the fourth color on our swatch, which is that kind of medium, really pretty orange that looks to have a little bit of yellow in it. So the color that I found that matched up perfectly to that was the yellowed orange, and that is PC1002. I'm just going to use the names and not the numbers, because I think using the names, a lot of people are more familiar and it makes it much easier for people to find them. So I'm not even going to really talk about the numbers. We're just going to use the names when we do this. So I'm going to go a little bit darker than that, and of course we've got a fall picture, so why should I not pick pumpkin orange? So we've got pumpkin orange, and then we've got yellowed orange, and then the last color I picked to go with that was eggshell, because eggshell is another fabulous highlight color, and this one is very neutral, and I think that it will look great on some of the leaves just to kind of blend those colors all together and burnish them out. So that is why I chose that one. So let's go ahead and swatch these out now. We've got our pumpkin orange. Now this is our yellowed orange. I also took into consideration when I was choosing these colors, I laid them down on paper and swatched them, and I tried to make sure that I didn't have a color here in this set that was too close over here to this set, but that this set of colors would go well with this set of colors. Like if I look at this poppy red will blend really well with this yellowed orange. And if I look at the Crimson Lake, that'll blend really well with the pumpkin orange. And the pumpkin orange will look beautiful with the Salmon Pink. So I also take that into consideration, and I tell you, when I picked some of these colors, I really went back and forth. It took me a really long time until I was finally happy with my choices, and I would swap things out, and yeah, it was hard because I really do put a lot of thought into it. I think the Artezas, choosing the Artezas was much easier for me, actually, because there were more colors that matched right up. For those of you that are familiar with Prismacolors know by looking at that next mustardy yellow that is definitely yellow ochre. So that is the color that I chose, and then I decided on that one that, of course, because it is a fall theme that we are doing, we really need some browns. So I used this yellow to take advantage of the fact that we need to add in some browns. So I have burnt ochre to go with my yellow ochre, which is a fantastic combination. And then I've got chocolate, and this is going to be a great color to add depth. And so that is what I chose. So let's go ahead and start with our darkest, which is the chocolate. My poor little chocolate pencil. Look at this stub. Okay, so we've got chocolate. And then we've got burnt ochre. This is like the perfect fall color. And then we have our yellow ochre. Look how pretty those look together. Okay, so I can't wait to start coloring this page. Okay, so we got chocolate, burnt ochre, and yellow ochre. And then we just have one more for me to show you, and it is a yellow. And now look what I did with this one. So the color that I matched up was the Deco Yellow to that yellow. It's pretty close, but we need another highlight color. So I wanted to go a little bit lighter than what the actual color on my swatch was, but this one is pretty close when you put it down on the paper and put the swatch next to it. So I've got Deco Yellow, another one of my absolute favorite highlight colors. And I put lime peel with that because, as you can tell, lime peel has some yellow in it. So we are going to take that lime peel and we are going to go from our yellow into green, since this is like a beautiful yellow-green color. And so that will bring us into our greens. And then I needed to pick a dark enough green, which is an olive green, since this is very fallish. And so I wanted an olive green because this is going to be great to add shadows and depth and everything that we need as far as our greens go. And these three colors will look beautiful together. So we've got olive green, and then I've got lime peel. Now you guys could use this as a guide to pick, this is my Deco Yellow, to pick your own colors. You do not have to go with the colors that I went with. Olive green. I think my fine liner is about done. It's time for new ones. Lime peel. And then Deco Yellow. Okay, so these are my Prismacolor combinations. And I don't know, I know I can't talk to y'all and then y'all talk back to me, but I was gonna say, do you think we should just do the Artezas too? And I think that we probably should go ahead and do the Artezas all in one video. Now, I did not match up my Artezas to my Prismacolors. My Arteza selections are a little bit different. So just so you know that, some of them are going to be pretty spot on. Like I believe the second one, the second set of colors that I chose, those are pretty spot on to the Artezas. But all the rest of them, I went through and I did not try to match them up exactly, because there's not that many colors that match Prisma to Arteza. At least not in this case, there weren't. So let's go ahead and swatch the colors we are going to use for this color palette. For the Artezas. Okay, so for the first one, if you look at that first purple color, that is definitely orchid purple. Gosh, I cannot talk, y'all. So that is definitely orchid purple. And then I went a little bit darker into burgundy. And then my lightest color, I brought in a pink in this situation, and that was peony pink. So see how I did things a little bit differently than I did for the Prismacolors? These are our three colors for the first set of the Artezas. And then the next one I chose, if you look at the next in the color palette, you will see that it's that really pretty pink color. And let me tell y'all, Arteza had a color that matched up exactly, and it is so pretty, and it is fruit punch. And then so to go a little bit darker from that one, I went with magenta. And then the last one is pink macaroon. So there's what the next set looks like. Okay, so we've got blood orange, which is the color that matched up to the palette almost perfectly. And then I went a little bit lighter than that, and I went with coral. And then I've got peaches and cream, and these look so beautiful together. Watch when I swatch these. So we've got the blood orange, And then the coral. Look at that transition. They're just beautiful. And then this peaches and cream. Those will look so pretty. That is like the most beautiful color combination to me. So blood orange, coral, and peaches and cream. Okay, so our next one, if you're looking at the swatch, is that yellow-orange type color. So the color that matched up the best for the next swatch on my color palette was the pumpkin orange. And then darker than that, I went with ginger. This is a really beautiful brown. And then my lightest, or my highlight color, is this gorgeous, really pale orange. It's called Marmalade Orange. So let's go ahead and swatch these. I love this marmalade orange color. This marmalade orange color will be a beautiful skin color. But if you're doing this color along, you can pull in other colors just for skin. And then marmalade. Yeah, I was going to put the Arteza colors just down in the description, but that is a lot in the description box. So this is probably easier. So if you look at the next one, we are now on the mustardy yellow looking color, and we had one that matched up almost exact in the Arteza set. The yellow ochres are almost exactly the same from one set to the other. So we have yellow ochre, and then I went darker, and again I went to a brown color, and this one is raw sienna. And then a beautiful yellow highlight color, which is their jasmine yellow. So let's go ahead and swatch these. Now, those of you who didn't see the previous video, I talked about what type of paper to use for this color along. And this paper I'm swatching on is the Nina paper. And I use the Nina paper when I am using my my Artezas, because they work well on there, but I don't like how my Prismacolors perform on that paper. I like the Spring Hill paper better. And so that is what I'm going to be using for the color along, because I will be using the Prismacolors, since that's what the majority of y'all in my Facebook group wanted me to use. So I will have all of those linked in the description below. Okay, so the next one is the very last color in the color palette, and the color that matched up the best was this lemon yellow. And so again, I brought in a green, and I thought this was really pretty. I chose this absinthe green, and then a cream so that I could have another highlight color. So the first one is going to be this absinthe green, and then the lemon yellow, and then the cream. Okay, so we've got all the colors swatched out that we chose for our color palette. You should still be able to see the color palette up on the screen, as well as the page we are going to be coloring. I have all of the Artezas here and what was chosen, and this is what they look like together. But of course, on the Artezas, the color on the lead is not the same as the color on the barrel. And then we've got our Prismacolors, and so this is what our Prismacolors that we chose look like. And I don't know if I'm looking at these, I think that the Prismacolors look much more fallish, I guess, than the Arteza combinations, but of course I've got different color choices with the Prismacolors than I do with the Artezas. So y'all can follow along with the color along now and use whichever pencils you want, the Prismacolors or the Arteza pencils. If you would like to get some Arteza pencils, which they are wonderful pencils, I will have my link for the Artezas down in the description below, and I will also have my link for the Prismacolor if you would like to purchase those. Anything you've seen in my video, that will always be in the description below. And I hope you all decide to join us for this color along. Again, make sure you are subscribed to my channel and you have your bell notifications on so that you get notified of every single video that comes along for this color along. And if you're not already in my Facebook, great, make sure that you check the description below so that you can join us in the Facebook group. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Happy coloring. Bye.